All you motherfuckers complaining, where's my fucking weekend show? Where's my weekend show you promised? Fuck you, what's promised? I love you all. I'm trying to shoot a goddamn fuck pilot for the goddamn fuck HBO people. I'm at Bill Maher's fucking studio right around the block for a little while, taping promos. New rule. Artie Lang can't tape a promo. New rule. Judd Apatow cannot use my studio. I barely tolerate The Price is Right. Yeah, I looked at The Price is Right. Yeah, that's true, by the way. He tapes in the same soundstage as
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher's Real Time with Bill Maher. Tapes on there's a level of funny here I'm not even tapping into. Bill Maher tapes his show Real Time with Bill Maher, which I am clearly a fan of. I admit that. Dan, we're setting the clock. Thank you. We're 38 seconds in. Be careful, Dan. Everyone's getting hit with shrapnel tonight. Now, I'm actually in a happy mood tonight. But yeah, Real Time with Bill Maher is shot on the same stage as The Price is Right. Now, listen, you might say, okay, Bill Maher's the hipper show, blah, blah, blah. Dudes, let me give you a little fucking lesson about life. Let me give you a math equation. The Price is Right has been on since 1914. It's been syndicated 5 million times over and over again. Okay? It has made conservatively for CBS. It's on CBS, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Conservatively, $4 billion and change. That's what The Price is Right has made. Dan, what are you doing?
I was looking for water.
You're looking for water?
Well, we don't.
Where is the water? We have Did you get bottled water?
Yes, I got bottled water.
Thank God.
I was prepared.
All right. Sorry. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? Fucking sucking my dick? I'm in Brooklyn fucking shooting an HBO pilot. Dan's bitching about looking for Poland Spring. Sorry. I guess I'm the asshole. Don't ask that question, Bill. By the way, I got an email from my business manager. Guess what you got? So some of the fans are complaining. Why? You're eating on the air. I said to my business manager, excuse me? What? He's all serious. He goes, Dan, what are you doing? You're making a lot of noise there. Is there ice? Water main break in Hoboken. Let me give the backstory.
I don't know if you can drink the ice. I don't know if you can.
I got the ice. Drink the ice.
Yeah, that. You know what? That's what. Whoa! You're gonna lose your sandwich here.
I need some help. Tell him what happened, Dan.
All right, so we had a water main break in Hoboken, and we had no water up until about an hour and a half ago, and then they said we have to boil water until tomorrow morning. But I think that's ice from The Good Water.
This is fine.
That's my show on CBS, The Good Water.
Nice. Nicest? Give me that. So, let me explain what happened. You were on the air broadcasting somewhere? Where the fuck is my fucking... I got him. I got my cans. You were you were an on-air personality somewhere?
Yes.
Oh, my God. By the way, Dan had a tape out. What was that? I asked you to tape on your own the last 5 minutes of a show the other day, right? Remember? Because I didn't have time to do it, and I said, you just end the show?
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. Oh, God. Did you see some of the reactions to that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. People were not... I mean, they were...
Who was I sitting here with? Oh, it was...
You were by yourself, I thought.
Joe Machi.
He was... You're right. I asked you to end that show with plugs and everything. So, what happened? Did you feel that went well? Because people were really mad.
No.
How did you feel that went?
I just wanted to get it over with.
Wow, well, that's great. You mailed it in?
No.
Well, you did, you said. I just wanted to get it over with.
Well, what are we going to talk to Joe Machi about?
Whatever. I talked to him for an hour.
Right.
Why is he on the show? He's a comedian. But people said, well, they said you sounded gay, but they say that about everybody. They feel you. It was like you never even talked on a microphone before. What happened?
I don't remember what happened.
Of course you don't. Where were you on air? You said you just told me the other day.
Well, I was on air in Chicago. I was on air in San Francisco.
San Francisco. That makes sense. No. Where were you? Not just like what we do here. You were the host. It was the Dan and something show, right?
Yeah.
Where
I was
was that?
in Chicago. I did it. In San Francisco, I did it.
There was one other place. We were just talking about it the other day.
When I was younger, I did it in Waukegan, Illinois. When I was like 15.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think. Anyway, people in a meeting. You know who else eats on the air? A guy named Howard Stern. He did all right.
Steve Dahl ate on the air.
Of course he did. He ate everyone. It's the old joke. One of the best fat jokes ever. I can't lose weight swimming because I can't go swimming. It's never been more than half an hour since I last ate. I love it. That's a great joke. Oldie but a goodie. Based on the premise that I don't know, maybe kids don't get that because maybe it's not even told to them anymore. Was that bullshit? Your parents would always say after you eat, you got to wait a half an hour before you swim because you get cramps and you drown. Right?
Right.
So
right. We were
one word answers on.
We were number one in 1982 or 83 in the summer of 1982 or 83.
Where?
In Chicago.
Dahl.
Yes. Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer, and we beat the Cubs, which was like for the first time anyone had beaten
Everybody
beat the Cubs in ratings.
What do you mean the first time ever?
In ratings.
People beat the Cubs every day.
And we got an email of a couple of things that we could change about.
In 1982, you got an email?
Yes. Or no, I'm sorry.
Was that big
memo.
News?
We got a memo. Yes. We got a memo from someone that I still have about a couple of things that could make the show better because he was just hired.
Yeah.
And one of the things was Steve has to stop eating on the air. Do you know who that person was?
No.
You know him. You know him very well.
I don't know.
Tim Sabian. Bobby Magic, his air name.
Listen. Who's Bobby Magic?
That was his air name, Bobby Magic.
Who's their name?
When Tim was on the air, he told me that was
Tim Sabian?
his name. Bobby Magic. That's what he said.
That's news to me. That's fucking fantastic. What is magical about Tim Sabian? Oh, I love Tim, though. Love him. Tim is a throwback to the old classic guys, man.
But he came in, he got hired, and we were already number one. But he just had to throw in some tips.
Like what?
To make us better. And one of them was Steve has to stop eating on the air.
We're visionary. Rules are made to be broken, my friend. That's what we're doing. We're breaking the rules. Stop eating on the air. Fuck off. Take your $7 a month and go fuck yourself. You're going to tell me not to eat on the air. Okay, bye. You're eating while you're listening to me. That pisses me off. I mean, come on. This is called innovation. Originality. Rebellion. You understand? That's what I'm about. I'm going to eat more on the air. How'd that fucking sound? And I may follow this up with a marshmallow s'more. Or a smurf. I'm having a good fucking time. It's about rebellion. But people did complain about your last 5 minutes. I don't know what they meant. They said you were unprofessional. I don't believe it. You're one of the most professional people I know.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint.
But no, you're not disappointing me. You're disappointing, I don't know. Who are we disappointing? Artie's bloated liver?
I just hope and pray it's not Rick from L.A.
It's all I hope and pray too. Rick from L.A. very upset. Rick from L.A., by the way, again, these guys. I love Rick. He may be the closest, most dearest fan of the show. He's very, very.
He's our number one fan.
I guess so. And you're pissing off a lot of people when you say that because, of course, there's a lot of people you could say are our number one fans. A lot of crossovers from Stern. You got to give Howard the credit there for a lot of these guys that even knowing who the fuck I am, obviously. But these guys crossed over and they were nice enough to stay with us. And I'm happy about that. So you're going to be in the next couple of days seeing more and more of them stop by, and they're going to, subscribe in a legal way, in a legal fashion to the show. And I am prepared to give them, my broadcasting excellence. Living in the limelight, ye. Today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you with space he invades. He gets by on you. Living in the limelight, ye. Here's Timmy, he'll give you the lineups. Sally Sosa coming up. Right after the CBS Sunday Night movie. Is the blue part of the globe the sky, Mommy? The Dennis Rodman story. Dennis Rodman, retarded. Tonight on CBS. Is our brother Dennis retarded, Mom? No, son. He seems retarded to us and the other brothers and sisters. Well, he is adopted. You know why he's adopted? Why? Because we like to help, people in need. So he's adopted. That might be a reason why you feel he's not as bright as you and the other sibling. Does that make sense to you? No, well, but the kids at school have another reason. What is that? They say he's a no good, lousy... Well, they're racist. Why do we adopt a black guy? My friends are giving us crap about it, Mom, because we're liberal, we're kind. We took in a black kid who does a 3.840 with great jumping ability, and he's in the weight room a lot. And he's going to be the best rebounder of all time. That's why we took him in. And he came through. Then he raped 3 of our aunts.
Oh, God. No, he did not.
Of course not. They weren't related to them, those women. True story, by the way. Dennis Rodman, who I have since met because of my D-list fashion celebrity status. And he was adopted by a white family and, became this amazing athlete and did make it to the NBA at a very young age, the worm. Very disconcerting in those piston shorts that are way up high. The fashion difference that Jordan came in with and made the pants real long and baggy. Yeah, Dennis Rodman needed that. His cock was coming out of that fucking thing. God. Holy shit. It's the 1 year Rick Steves had piston season tickets. Look at the Wonder Worm. Look at the worm on the Pistons. A special edition of the Rick Steves Channel 13. What's the name of the Rick Steves show? Coming in the back door.
Travel with Rick
Steves, a special edition this season. Rick, that's me. I'll be speaking in the third person about Rick myself because my therapist taught me that's going to help me deal with whatever it is I'm dealing with. He says there's something deep down that's looking to get out, Rick. What is it? What could it be? Is it your love of travel? Is it the first passport with even numbers in ink that you can be proud of? Workmanship, craftsmanship. I want that on my passport the same way I want it on my kitchen surface. Brussels. Brussels is one of my favorite cities. Is that the reason I want to travel? There's something deep down inside. That really came out when I saw the Wonder Worm Dennis Rodman in those short shorts. Call me crazy, but I love the game of basketball. It's like a ballet. It's like watching the Nutcracker Suite. When I see Dennis Rodman go up for one of those B-bounds that they go up for, whenever the ball gets out of the other man's hands and they forget to dribble it with one hand and they dribble it with two hands and they get called for an unnecessary double dibble. And I go, that's the Wonder Worm doing his thing. He didn't double dibble. How dare you, referee? You're racist. I say racist because it has a C and an S in it.
Well, Rick would have been a fan of those Supersonics teams.
Supersonic! Of course, Seattle Supersonics. That's the best name for a guy like Rick Steves. Hey, are you going to play the Supersonics? You Wonder Worm? The Pistons and the Supersonics. A Rick Steves special. I have front row seats. That's right, front row seats for the Wonder Worm and his short shorts. And those high socks, those high white socks going up that African-American brown knee that I love so much. The knees are not as scraped up as mine. For some reason, my knees are scraped up. My wife always asks me, what are you doing on your knees? They're scraped up. Dennis Rodman's an athlete. He's a Wonder Worm, and he doesn't have scraped up knees. As a matter of fact, his knees are black and glistening and wonderful. And I say I noticed the same thing about that in his rump. And then our children begin to cry. No one knows why. No one knows why. So I continue to scrape up those knees. I don't know what happens. I take an Ambien, I have a glass of Chardonnay, and I'm thinking about the best way to go in the back door of Brussels. And then I pass out. I wake up. It's dawn. I hear my wife weeping and saying some prayers in the kitchen. She's talking to St. Jude in a house coat that she just ironed. She keeps saying, St. Jude, he did it again. Why did he do it again? I wake up with some dried up mayonnaise on my cheek that apparently went on the tuna fish salad sandwich I love so much in the middle of the night. My wife tells me I love tuna fish salad in the middle of the night with extra mayo. I don't remember eating a tuna fish salad ever. It's the only time I crave it is when I'm passed out after that Ambien and Chardonnay. I don't crave tuna fish any other time except in the middle of the night when that thing happens that I don't know. When I become that travel werewolf. I call it the travel werewolf comes out of me. I start to grow.
Travel werewolf.
I'm the travel werewolf. I start barking at the moon. Something happens. I go into that Dennis Rodman Wonder Worm weave. And I'm rooting for the Supersonics. I'm rooting for the Supersonics and the Pistons. And I'm like, I have season tickets. Why am I not there? And I remember I gave it to my friend, Dante. Dante went. My wife never met Dante. Neither did my son. But Dante, for some reason, every time I get a fresh scrape on my knees, for some reason, Dante has a scrape on his inner thigh. And it also coincides with the time I forget to take out my retainer. My dentist gets all over me that because I want straight teeth. He said, you're going to make it in the travel business. You need straight teeth, Rick. One night I take out that goddamn, excuse the language, that GD retainer. I get scraped up knees. I'm in a blackout. And, of course, Dante has bruised inner thighs. But guess what you get as the audience? A backdoor into Brussels. And I get a backdoor into Dante. Ah! Sometimes I like to joke about it. Anyway, that's what happens. And my wife and I have a great relationship. But lay off the Chardonnay and Ambien. That's your Rick Steves tip for today. Rick Steves likes to give out tips. And let me tell you something. I'm having a great time in the beautiful city of you know what I like to do every once in a while? I like to say, this is what I like to do. I like to say the name of this movie. A Bridge to Terabithia. For no reason, I'll take an Ambien and a Chardonnay and I'll be on the subway and I'll go, A Bridge to Terabithia. And then I say, for no reason, wash your undercarriage. A lot of times Dante will call me and say, why did you call me last night? You took some Chardonnay and some Ambien? There were 53 straight voicemails my wife cannot make out. And all they say is, Dante, wash your undercarriage. Signed Steves. Signed RS. Wash your undercarriage. What exactly is an undercarriage, you might ask? Well, that's the tease. After the commercial, I reveal what an undercarriage is. A lot of you might think it's just a taint. No, it's not just a taint. It's a taint of love. It's God's taint. Wash your undercarriage. Now, coming up next on the Travel Channel, on Rick Steves' Travel Channel, we go to Disney World on Homosexual Day and wear a red shirt. Why? Because we just had red shirts that were clean. A lot of you say, well, we read in the pamphlet that after the evil Nazi Walt Disney perished, the gays and Jews were the people who built Disney World revolted. And they said, we're going to have our own day. And if you're gay, wear a red shirt. If you're Jewish, don't wear any shirt. Just wear your dreidels. Wear your dreidels and big hat on a humid Orlando day. And when you sweat, we'll go to your taint and we'll turn that into an undercarriage. A sweaty taint on an Amish person is the perfect platform, the perfect blank canvas to paint a taint. We're going to do some taint painting later on the Rick Steves travel broadcast. We're going in through the back door, into Orlando, and we're going to take the Tilt-A-Whirl. We're going to take the Epicenter. Epcot Center. What's next on Epcot Center? Dick City in Thailand. Rick Steves. Brussels. Supersonics. The Wonder Worm of Dennis Rodman. That's what I'm trying to get at. He was adopted by a white family, not an African-American family. At the age of, I believe, 9, was adopted from the streets of hell. I think he was from Chicago. Of course, he had enormous ears, enormous teeth. And I'll tell you what, every once in a while in my Ambien Chardonnay nights, those ears become handles. Those ears become very, very practical. God put them there. Evolution put them there. Because I use those, the Ambien Chardonnay Rick Steves, every once in a while will use those Dennis Rodman Wonder Worm ears like two little big handles of love. I grab them and I just pump them towards my stomach. It's great for your lats. It's great for your abs. And you release all the tension. And tension comes in many forms. We all know that. It comes in anger. It comes in striking out against a loved one in anger. It comes in violence. It comes in bad language. Sometimes it comes in your mouth. Rick Steves. Sometimes it comes in your mouth in a white liquidy form that can make egg drop soup out of any jacuzzi. I've done it before. Me and the cast of Two Broke Girls and the whole writing staff, I'll take them out sometimes. If you want to see the cover of legendary comedy, if it were a magazine, the cover would be those Two Broke Girls every goddamn week. Good joke after good joke. Good joke after good joke. How do they do it? People say Rick Steves. How do they keep making Two Broke Girls funny week after week after week? Is it Whitney Cummings? Does she run that room? Does she go in there with her little notepad on the iPad and say, listen, I have $200 million off the syndication already. The comedy gods are a-brewing. They want a new season. Rick, what's the 7th season going to be like? Will it be as good as seasons 1 through 6? Is that possible to keep up that good work? Is it possible to keep up the wit and banter that must go on in the Two Broke Girls writing room? Oh my God, it must be like the old Your Show of Shows, the original Saturday Night Live, those SCTV shows with Rick Moranis and John Candy throwing out wonderful ideas. Wonderful ideas. Is that what the Two Broke Girls writing room is? Of course it is. It's that exciting. It's that witty. It's that wonderful. And we're going to break into that Two Broke Girls wonder room. I'm working on Two Broke Girls, One Cup. Of course. A takeoff of a wonderful YouTube video I saw. My gracious. If you guys know Rick Steves, well, you know I don't like the brown. That's what we call it. I don't like the brown. I don't go brown. I don't go downtown brown. I have friends who do, though. I have friends who say, hey, Rick Steves, do you want to go downtown brown tonight on us? And I go, no, I'm not downtown brown. Then I see them go downtown brown, and I'm like, my gracious.
He would have been growing up when Jack Sikma was big.
What's Jack Sikma got to do with it? What's the deal with Jack Sikma? Big white center? Why do you bring that up?
Well, he was on that Supersonics team.
What's the reference, though? Why
Rick's from Seattle.
Yeah, I know, but why Jack Sikma when I was talking about the brown? You know what the brown is, right? Why'd you bring up Jack Sikma? Just because he was on the Supersonics?
Well, you said that Rick wouldn't like...
Rick wouldn't like what?
The brown.
The brown? What do you mean, the brown? No. Well, no, you don't know what brown is. Brown is shit.
Oh.
Brown is taking a dump right in your mouth.
Oh, God.
That's what downtown... Did I have to point that out for you? How grotesque are you? How racist are you? You thought I meant black people?
Yes.
No, I mean shit. Is that your way of pointing out that black people and shit are the same color?
No.
My grandfather used to have an argument about racism. He would shut up a lot of black people who would come over the house. They'd have an argument about race, black and white, literally about the colors black and white. And after a few flaming shots of Zambuca, my grandfather would say to the African-American friend of his, he'd go, okay, I'll sum it up like this. This ends the argument. What color is cum? What color is shit? And then they'd shut up. Of course, I don't agree with that. It is an excellent point, though, when you think about it. One is equated with the greatest feeling a human being can have. A wonderful feeling you can trust. There's no bad male orgasm ever. It's all, as Woody Allen says in Manhattan, right on the money. Women say they have wrong orgasms, bad orgasms. They're not trustworthy. Remind you of any group of people? And they're equated with a disgusting act that somehow God let us do. To remind us every once in a while he's in charge. And every once in a while he goes, yeah, the white stuff will come out of your cock and you'll feel like Superman for 2 seconds. And you realize you're looking at the guy on your couch in Rick Steves' land. Oh, God. Rick Steves' Wonder Worm. He'll say, listen, how can the white stuff come out when you're looking at somebody brown? It's a paradox. When I look at Dennis Rodman in those early videos, and I have every one of them downloaded, if you will. I'm a downloader. I'm a brownloader. I'm a downtown brownloader.
I actually thought you were talking about Downtown Freddie Brown.
Downtown Freddie Brown. How about Downtown Freddie Brown's Brown? How about Downtown Freddie Brown, Downtown Brown? Yes, Freddie Brown made a lot of us shit our pants if we were bet on the money line on Georgetown that year, didn't we? When he threw a pass directly to another Brown, coached by a Brown, an enormous dark brown. Yes, this podcast will have us both working construction by Tuesday. We're not pointing out anything about anybody's intellect or race or opinions or anything like that. There's no extra bone in the ankle. I'm not Jimmy the Geek. I'm talking from a real place. I'm talking about color. I'm talking about wonder. I'm talking about nuance. I'm pointing out that the brown color is much sexier, and they have that on us. And by they, I mean the Browns. The Cleveland Browns. What about the downtown Cleveland Browns? Jim Brown. What about Jim Brown? Jim Brown downtown, Tina Brown. How about eating at the ground round, baby, ground brown? How about ground brown, baby, ground brown, like a record, baby, ground brown. I eat at the downtown Julie Brown, at the record, baby, downtown Freddie Brown. I eat at the Jurdavian clowny clown. I'm sorry. Did the modulation get too high?
Yes.
Maybe they complain about that too, don't they? Artie's eating a lot, and he's yelling for no reason. Oh, really? I'm showing emotion on the radio, you cocklick? Maybe I'll do a show like Ryan Seacrest. How about that? You know, he's seen some brown. Every once in a while on Ryan Seacrest's show, he's got a radio show that has a video component. That's the name he uses, component. Yes, I have a video component. I saw him and Seth Meyers talking about his video component one day. Swear to Christ, couldn't tell the difference between either one of them. I was across the room and I was smoking some hashish. I got it up in Montreal. Long story. I won't get into it now. But me and some of the guys from Girl and Guy Code got together, and guess what? It was a party. Those Girl and Guy Code people can really riff for a while. My God, they're funny for a good 32 seconds. And then one of them accidentally hits their head on a pipe that was coming out of my ceiling. And when they hit their head on the pipe accidentally, a young Asian girl with 3 minutes of comedy hits her head on a pipe. My God, you laugh and laugh and laugh. And when you realize it's actually a serious injury, you laugh more. And when you realize it's infected and she may never do comedy again, you realize, did she ever really start? And then you say, my God, how can I make fun of the cast of Girl and Guy Code? They have some unbelievable millennial observations about dating and sex. High-energy guys that aren't threatening. They would never say something disgustingly rude. They would say something sexual because that's allowed in this dumb generation's vortex of disgustingness, vortex of boredom. There's a lot of depression without genius going on, and that's pathetic. Can you imagine the level of a brain that watches Girl Code? If Tom Freston of MTV ever really watched his channel, he would never stop throwing up. You know who never stops throwing up either is Rick Steves. And when he throws up, it is a waterfall of white. He's got white coming out the waterfall. He's got brown coming out the other waterfall. And every once in a while, a red color appears in both. And that means the Wonder Worm Dennis Rodman scraped his cock on the dresser before he could get the hard piece of wonder into the mouth of whoever he was fucking on the Travel Channel that week. A lot of people on the Travel Channel have a lot of interesting cocks they put in the mouths of other people on the Travel Channel. I'm not going to get into it. But the Girl and Guy Code kids get involved, and guess what? Those kids are going to have development deals soon. And they're going to bring you say, where, you look to comedy and you go, where's the next Two Broke Girls going to come from? Where's the next Johnny Galecki coming from? Where's the next How I Met Your Mother creator coming from? This generation's Clint Eastwood is Neil Patrick Harris, ladies and gentlemen, and we wonder why we're losing to ISIS. Maybe we could have a gluten muffin every once in a while. So, but maybe put the gluten in the muffin. Maybe we beat Hitler because MacArthur ate gluten. Maybe we beat them in D-Day because General Patton did guess what? He ate gluten. Have some gluten, rootin' tootin' pootin', and show your downtown Josh Brown to a guy like Patton. Yeah, Patton. We need more guys like that. That's a military guy. Patton MacArthur, the kind of guy that could take a shit right in front of you and tell you what your orders are. That's right. Get over here, motherfucker. Hey, private shithead. You're on the Wonder Worm team. You're gonna storm Normandy. Who's our general? Neil Patrick Harris? No. Matthew Perry. We're living in a generation where everybody under 30 thinks Matthew Perry invented sarcasm. He calls it Matt Speak. That's right. I saw him do a lecture once at Keene University in Elizabeth. I think they paid him $20,000. He told all the students there who were fans of comedy, fans of David Schwimmer's amazing looks and eye lines, that no one rolls their eyes like David Schwimmer. No one. You throw a close-up to David Schwimmer, and guess what? It's like kicking it out to Ray Allen with 3 seconds left. Good for 3. Schwimmer, we need an eye roll on camera 2. So-ish! Matthew Perry, then. We need a sarcastic line. There's a Matthew Joey Lawrence, whatever the fuck his name is going to say something stupid. Stupid! Matt Lawrence reading a sarcastic line. And guess what? Matthew Perry's right there and goes, you meant what? Notice how his voice goes up at the end, dictating sarcasm. You studied where? Switch. The combination every once in a while is kind of like the 1996 Yankees, the way Joe Torre's spelling. That's what he called them. He would use that team like a wonder worm of love. He would go out there. If the Yankees had a 1-run lead after the 6th inning, guess what? They won the game. Mariano Rivera came in for the 7th and 8th, shut them down, and then Wetland came in, bam, boom, back. 1, 2, 3, you're out. And Don Zimmer would shit in the mouth of Yogi Berra's wife, and they'd go inside. Then Don Zimmer would take whoever.
I'm sorry, Popeye.
Don Zimmer would shit in the mouth of anybody that of the mother of whoever Derek Jeter was dating, and then he'd take her out to Applebee's while Jeter fucked 3 other women, and then he'd slowly bring her back to Jeter's apartment at 5 a.m. Call Jeter up on his universal LG cell phone on the smartphone. Finally, take his tobacco out for the night. Finally, change his undershorts. And then say to Jeter, hey, Dad, it's Don Zimmer. I took her out to Applebee's. Yeah, this chick's hot. What do you want me to do? You still fucking the Puerto Rican? Yeah, she was hot, too. Spoke no English, though. I mean, habla inglés, buddy. What's the problem? No, yeah, with the non-English, the Spanish broads, I can relate to them. I played with a lot of those guys, yeah. Orlando Cepeda. Yeah, but people thought I was a racist. Every Christmas, I go up to Orlando Cepeda and go, hey, fellas Nevada. Hey, Orlando, it's Don Zimmer. Fellas Nevada. I'm in Ohio. I'm at a winter game. I'm going down to South America. I got to play baseball. Either that or listen to the wife. Yeah, we got a Christmas Day game. The wife's going to her mother's. I'm going to a Christmas Day game in Brazil. So, fellas Nevada, I understand that means Merry Christmas. How's Minnie Minoso doing? He got hit in the head again? Yeah? Tell Minnie, fellas Nevada. Wonder worm of love. That's when I'd come back. I'd come back and I'd go, okay, I'm taking Matthew Perry's comedy class this year. That's right. He's going to teach me how to go up at the end of a sentence. And it's instant sarcasm. It's instant Emmy. Jennifer Aniston's character would come in and go, oh, did you eat all the bagels? Bagels as in bagels? 5-minute laugh from the retarded audience from Nebraska, who's been dead for 35 years. That's a make room for daddy audience that they never cut out. And then you say to yourself, what did the other cast do? What did the blonde do? Lisa Kudrow. She was the mastermind. She knew how to deliver those lines that were excellently written. Crisp lines. She could deliver them like that. But if gun to your head, and you've got to say this, and I believe everybody from that generation will. Anybody from that generation who was lucky enough to grow up and be taught sarcasm by Matthew Perry and the eye roll by David Schwimmer, the single best moment on Friends was always the Matthew Perry Matt speak. Yes, going up with the inflection. And then he would do a Tonight Show or Letterman. He'd do it there. He'd go out to Letterman, what balls, and say, hey, Dave, good top 10 list. Hey, Dave, here's a suggestion. Top 11? Top 11? Letterman, even though he was brilliant, was caught in the trap of the Matthew Perry wonder. The entire audience dulled from good orange weed they got medically from Hawaii. The synthetic weed that they would get. Take an Ambien and eat somebody's face and then go to the Letterman show. Letterman would laugh. He'd have to laugh. It was just that funny. Matthew Perry is writing a biography. I understand he's looking for titles. Here's one, buddy. As a comedy fan, Matthew Perry. It's just that funny. And how about this? Matthew Perry. I dare you not to laugh. A must stocking stuffer for any comic worth his nutsack. Any comic who's on YouTube now and thinks they're wonderful under the age of 23. Here's a must get. The audiobook for Matthew Perry's biography, Matthew Perry. I dare you not to laugh. Because he reads it. I'm going to repeat that, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big announcement. Matthew Perry reads it in Matt Speak. The wonderful moment. My favorite moment of the book. I tore through it. 8 times. I read it cover to cover. Word for word. Letter for letter. Wonderful, funny letter for funny letter. In this day of mailing it in with books. A comic gets a book deal, and guess what? We find out dating tips from Aziz Ansari, who, by the way, has the funniest show in the history of television right now on Netflix. I'll get to that later. He knows about sarcasm too, but he does it in a very Middle Eastern way. That's the twist. How about trying a top 11? That's right. That's right. You're funny. How? Joey, did you just say something witty? Jennifer, is that your new haircut? Hey, Dave, guess what? The new lineup has a brand new Boy Meets World? How I Met Your Mother? It's sweeping the nation. And guess what? Matthew Perry gets paid for every one of those shows. You speak Matt speak and you get paid? Matthew gets paid. Matthew gets paid. And he doesn't let his lawyer make the call. There's a standard tape the lawyer plays. If Aziz Ansari or somebody else, one of the others, these millennials taking over the world right now, if the hip writing staff for Two Broke Girls dares to speak Matt speak, they will get this audio cassette sent by his lawyer. And you're not going to pay me how? And you're being sarcastic on TV. Why? You're not going to pay the king. Why? A bridge should have be. If you say something can be misconstrued as sarcastic, you pay Matthew Perry. You pay Matt Speak. You pay him. David Schwimmer. The original title of his book was going to be Matthew Perry, What Happened to David Schwimmer? Personally, that's a question I'd like to know, too, as a big fan of Friends. What did happen to David Schwimmer? Kid's got a great head of hair. Nobody pouts like David Schwimmer. Nobody. A wonderful pouty voice. And you're going to make fun of David Schwimmer. Guess what? Why not make fun of the fucking ass he got for 20 years? More ass than a goddamn toilet seat. Got more pussy than a green-eyed you-know-what. Moon cricket. Matthew Perry. I'm going to list my top... Dan, stick with me. I'm going to list my top 10. This is Rick Steves' funniest people in the world for the last 20 years. Because once you get into different generations, it could change. So I can only relate to the last 20 years. Funniest people ever. Top 5. I'll write them down as I say it. I may not remember the names. I'll just know they're funny. Okay? Again, I don't know this kid's name, but I have to put him in the top 5. And as a comedian, I know these people. I understand you don't know them as civilians. In 1997, I had a development deal with the Fox network. I went to the first meeting at 20th Century Fox with the very powerful woman who ran the company. Once again, I said woman who ran the company. In the corner was a 24-year-old, half Asian, half African-American man. He had just graduated from UCLA. He had a big, big yellow legal pad and a big, fresh pen he had gotten from his parents for Christmas. It was a Mont Blanc. Cost as much as my first car. He sat there in corduroy pants and Timberland work boots, just right out of an NWA video. This kid had street cred. I asked who he was. And the woman who ran the company said I won't say his first name. We'll call him Shecky. That Shecky, what does Shecky do? Shecky's the head of comedy development at 20th Century Fox. 25-year-old, half Asian, half American, African-American man who went to UCLA. Graduated. Somehow bought work boots. Took the Mont Blanc pen that his mother, I don't know if the mother was African-American or Asian. That was not specified. And became, within 2 years out of college, the head of comedy development at 20th Century Fox. Of course, as a comic, I was cynical. And then we got into talking about comedy. And within 20 minutes, he had made my top 5 funniest people of all time. That's right. And you say, Art, why? What did he do? Right in the middle of my pitch, he lit himself on fire.
You know, you almost told that like Paul Harvey. One of the rest of the story.
Paul Harvey. That's the tease. Right in the middle of the pitch. The head of the comedy development department at 20th Century Fox in 1997. Half Asian, half African American. I don't know if his mother was Asian or his father was Asian. Again, not specified. In the middle of my pitch, he lit himself on fire. How did he do that? Well, I'll tell you how. He took out Salon Selective Shampoo, level 6. which we all know has high acid reflux. You can't take it on a plane. It's easy to hide anything in there. It's very flammable. I thought he was going to moisturize his head. He was sweating quite a bit, had dry skin. I felt for him. But I said he's the head of comedy development. I'm sure in his head he's thinking of something funny about this situation. Much like Richard Pryor did. Turning a tragedy like dry skin on when El Nino was blowing in L.A. Terrible times. And he took out that Salon Selective Level 6. He put it on his moisturized head. He put a little bit back into his hair. And then he took out a Zippo lighter. He went to light a hand-rolled Cuban cigar, which were very popular back then, and you still could smoke inside in L.A. That law had not been passed. A very, very hip cigar was the hand-rolled Cuban, what they would call it, a Philly blunt, maybe nowadays. Hand-rolled tobacco straight from Brazil. He would roll it, lick it like a joint, and start smoking it in a very hip way, almost like a hemp cigarette. As he was lighting the cigarette, he lit himself on fire. Now, you might say, Art, why would a man do that on purpose? You're wrong. Here's the funny part. It was an accident. That's why it was funny. He accidentally killed himself with third-degree burns. And I laughed for 4 weeks.
Were the Santa Ana winds blowing?
Santa Ana winds were blowing. And his ashes blew right out into the Pacific Ocean. Now, you might say, Art, what about all the shows that needed comedy developing? At the time, I believe there were shows just hanging out to dry. Dr. Phil was about to get a sitcom. Emeril Lagasse, the chef, was pitching his show. Apparently, he was very, very involved in that. I talked to Emeril later, and he said that kid who lit himself on fire had a lot of great comedy ideas. He was, the BAM thing? The BAM thing? They were afraid about getting licensing, so he changed it to Wham. The head of comedy development changed it to Wham, and they were about to get all the artwork for Wham. It was going to be the artwork for the show. It was going to say Wham on Emeril's forehead with a goofy look on his face. All the idea of this kid. All the idea of Shecky. When accidentally he lit himself on fire, lighting a very hip hemp cigarette in the offices of the head of 20th Century Fox while I was in the middle of a pitch.
All right, well, here were the top shows of that year. Friends.
Well, no. This was CBS, remember?
Okay.
Do your homework and watch it on the couch.
What was Third Rock from the Sun on?
I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't know. Third Rock from the Sun is what that means, Earth, right?
Yeah, that was on. That was huge.
That's about CTV.
Everybody Loves Raymond was on.
Was House of Buggin' on? Was House of Buggin'? Oh, I know what he wanted to do. Everyone Loves Raymond. He was going to change the title. Everybody is on the fence about Raymond. He wanted to change it to something a little bit more ambiguous because Raymond had a lot of humility, like a lot of funny people did. He was going to fix it, even though it was a major hit in the 4th season. He wanted to change it to either that or the jury's still out on how we feel about Raymond. Chris Rock had already taken Everyone Hates Chris, so they had to do something in the middle. And Shecky, the half-Asian, half-African-American head of comedy development at the age of 25, before he lit himself on fire accidentally in the offices of 20th Century Fox, while I was in the middle of a pitch, said, here's your 2 options, guys. I'm going to throw them out there, and guess what? I want my bonus. No one came up with anything nearly as good. And supposedly Ray Romano flipped for it. As a matter of fact, he invited Shecky and his partner, he had a life partner, Shecky, over to Everyone Loves Raymond's house. And he was going to reveal the new title of Raymond's Family and the 2 twins Raymond has. It was very involved in the comedy. Phil Rosenthal was all set with a legal pad. And he said, here's the 2 titles. I'm on the fence about Raymond. The jury's still out about how we feel about Raymond. Thank you. So you might see, in all fairness to me, I did not know about those 2 ideas when I laughed at him accidentally lighting himself on fire. But the physicality of it, if you could have seen, it was like Jim Carrey lighting himself on fire. You know the scene in Ace Ventura when he comes out of the shitter and says, do not go in there, to Courtney Cox? Imagine that, him on fire in that scene. Real fire. Richard Pryor fire. We miss you, Shecky. I know somewhere in the half American, half African American, half Asian section of heaven, I'm sure they have their own section, wired off, he's making the 3rd-degree burn section of that section laugh with his ideas. You just have to you can tell someone's funny by hearing one idea. On the fence about Raymond, right there you're sold. Right there it's a young Albert Brooks. But when he comes back with a topper, When he comes back with, in fact, the jury's still out on how we feel about Raymond, that's when you go, legend. Which brings me to number 4. Legend. What did I do there? What did I do? I did something very funny. Very funny. Kind of like, don't go there.
Matt speak.
Matt speak. Don't go there. At number 4. That's right. I have to put Matthew Perry. Who's funnier than Matthew Perry? Well, apparently 3 other people. I'll tell you later. But Matthew Perry, I've mentioned it before. Come on. Come on. The funniest Perry for years was Steve Perry. Then it was Rick Perry. Then it was Perry Cuomo. Now, and for always, in my opinion, it will be Matthew Perry. One word, Matt speak.
Perry Mason didn't make the list.
Perry Mason was a very homosexual man in a wheelchair. I'm going to solve this case. Then I'm going to suck your dick, Your Honor. And I'm going to suck it hard. I want your brown. Mickey Rooney once said, Mickey Rooney, true story, fucked 16 Japanese hookers on a plane ride back from Japan. Or a boat. Was it a boat? I'm not sure. Well, 6 in one, half dozen the other. Point is 16 Asian whores around the plane. And he was fucking their pussies the entire way. And then he saw an ass that he liked. And when you thought Mickey Rooney couldn't get more grotesque as a human being about sexuality, he looked at his assistant and said, I'd like to fuck her right in the brown. Man, referring to her asshole. That gets brown, like all of our assholes, from a lot of shit passing through it.
You know, for a while, I think it was around 2004 or 5, UPS had a campaign, What Can Brown Do For You?
Exactly.
I'm serious.
Exactly. What can brown do for you? Scrape your cock? Could you imagine 4'2" Mickey Rooney fucking a 4'1" Asian whore in the ass on a plane and saying, I'm giving it to you right in the brown?
Now, in this top 5 list, is this Matthew Perry as a TV star or his movie career?
Excellent point. No one brings that up. No one brings that up because no one can remember a movie Matthew Perry. Had to give you a little dig there, Matt. You know I love you. I did a little Matt speak. I'll send you a check. What do I owe you for making my podcast that much better? Well, what about, I'll give you a couple of words that comedy will never be the same after hearing Whole 9 yards. Whole 9 yards.
17 again.
Oh, of course, Dan knows it.
Fools Rush In.
2 people know Fools Rush In. It's a Matthew Perry movie. 2 people, Rick Steves and Dan Valletto. Oh, no, and Tommy, who's the guy who choreographed Broadway?
Tommy Tune.
Tommy Tune. Tommy Tune knows as well. I want another contest for the listeners, okay? If you can tell me the exact hour and second in the podcast that I stopped doing a Rick Steves impression, got lazy and just started talking like me, abandoning this bit, which was on life support for a while. If you can give me the exact time in the broadcast I did that, I will send you a picture of my brown. Of course, brown. There's a question medically. Are we all born with a white asshole and it becomes brown from the avalanche of shit that comes out of it throughout a lifetime? Good question, huh? And only the Artie Lang podcast will ask that question. Try hearing that on Fresh Air, Terry Gross. I'm going to get gross, Terry Gross. By the way, a little aggravated, Terry Gross. Really am. I had 2 wonderful interviews with Terry. She, of course, does Fresh Air on PBS. She's an enormously tiny woman. She's about 3'8". Asked me some questions that were really good. You can't see her face because the microphone covers her face. That's how tiny she is. She might have she might be of what is it? A thalidomide. Might be. Wonderful woman, though. Dan's a big fan. And, of course, Harry Shearer was dissed by her, too, right? Harry didn't go after 2 times, right?
Yes.
She helped me move a lot of books, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people come up to me and say, where'd I hear about your book? Fresh Air. Where? Fresh Air. And I tried to get on again. She said no. Gave me the cold shoulder, gave me the high hat. Said, she iced me like ISIS ices you. She iced me.
So NPR to you means no PR.
Ah! NPR to my father meant no Puerto Rican. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. No. Man. Apparently, wait, this is coming over the wire. Donald Trump caught in a racist joke. This is a true story, guys. Caught in a racist joke. They were talking about SNL, which, of course, everybody knows acronym, Saturday Night Live. Someone asked Trump if he wants to be known and equated with SNL. And he said no. They asked Trump why. He said, because it doesn't stand for Saturday Night Live, where I come from. And they said, what does it stand for? I'll be working as a longshoreman Monday morning at 8:30. Of course, that's a joke. But that's all I think about. We all have racist thoughts. We do. Mine come out sexually. Violently. I violently take out my racism. We've all gotten a chick high in synthetic weed and cheap wine, and while we were giving it to her right in the brown, asked her to say something racist to us. Like, I wanted her to call me a wop. A wop, a guinea. Dago. WAP, of course, an acronym meaning without papers. When we came over at Ellis Island, we didn't have papers. And the vicious, disgusting white people, I'll call them white people, said, guess what? You're not coming. Why? No papers. WAP. Dan, your thoughts on this? Did you feel not white when you were discriminated against in your lederhosen? Do you identify yourself with the German side or the Italian side? Or the gay side?
You know, when I was a kid, people really hated the Germans more than they hated the Italians.
Well, because of a little thing called the Holocaust?
Yeah.
Well, the Italians helped them, though.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Mussolini was a fucking... who was fucking weirder when they gave a speech? Mussolini or Hitler? They both look retarded.
My grandmother and grandfather that were here were Italian. My grandmother that was German lived in Germany. So I'm Italian! I associate myself more with the Italian.
That Italian Chicago accent, I don't know if I like it or hate it. My God, I love it. In the movie Thief, one of my favorite movies ever, of course, based in Chicago, James Caan plays a Chicago thief.
There's only one big flaw in that movie.
What is it?
Jim Belushi.
Oh, no. You don't like Jim, you hate Jim.
I'm kidding.
Dan, no, you're not. You're never kidding.
He's the most talented living Belushi.
Dan backtracks with his fucking... He spews out anger, and then he goes, I was kidding. When he overcompensates for his sexuality when he's yelling at the TV. Look at the cams on that whore. Oh, what are you, a hag? What, you don't like that whore? What's the matter? She's too feminine? I'll fuck her right now, right in the brown. I'm kidding. What? I'm kidding.
Did you? I DVR'd that Michael Mann's last movie, Black Hat.
Can I get the fuck into my story? Okay. I was going to give Chicago a comp. I'm eating again, guys. Time to turn on. Where the fuck else you listen to? No. Can't say something.
You okay? That was a big chunk of turkey burger.
I choked. Oh my God.
Getting ready for Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. I choked. I felt like Belushi when he was Elizabeth Taylor choking on chicken. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Just as long as Bill Murray's so great in that sketch. Just as long as you don't mess with those blue eyes that I've been in love with since National Velvet. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Chokes up the chicken. Fucking great.
Oh, okay, that was one of the funniest things ever.
So, Italian Chicago cop is interrogating James Caan. Really fucking letting into him. Beating him up. And it's classic James Caan, but it's James Caan has a bit of a Chicago accent. But I never saw this actor in anything else. Real Italian-looking guy, just one of those fucking cops that just drinks coffee and shits and just fucking shakes people down. He's shaking down Caan, and he says to James Caan, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm the last guy you want to fuck with, because at the end of your day, at the end of your time, I'm going to be there in that place at that time." James Caan goes, "And that's the last place you ever want to be, because I'll never take a pinch from a fucking greasy motherfucker like you." And he goes, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm Italian." You remember my face now, cocksucker? How could I forget your face? Because Chicago police don't hire a lot of Puerto Ricans. Let me have at him. You're a real stand-up guy. Real stand-up guy. We could have a lot of fun together. Take down scores. Go to a ball game. But no, you got to come on like a stiff brick. Oh, James Caan's great in that movie. Why don't you like Jim Belushi? He did something personally to you.
Yeah, he's fine. He's just
No.
he had a thing.
Dan has personal feuds with people. Who was it the other day? Clearly, you have something personal against somebody. And the creepy thing is, I don't know if they know about it because it might be stuck. It wasn't a chick.
Gino Bisconti just texted me back.
You hate Gino Bisconti.
I do not hate Gino Bisconti.
I do.
But I love that. I love that Italian cop. He's in. I think he's in.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, he's a Chicago like local actor, and I think he's in. What was the movie with the Dirty Dancing
Midnight
guy?
Cowboy?
No, the Dirty Dancing guy.
You know who it is.
What's his name? I can't think of his
You
name.
fucking got him on your wall. The guy died? Patrick Swayze?
Patrick Swayze. He did a movie with
Roadhouse.
Helen Hunt. No, they were Appalachian.
Dan brings up the most masculine actors.
He was an Appalachian cop, and he moved to Chicago.
An Appalachian cop. Appalachian?
It's Appalachian.
No, it ain't.
Yeah, it is.
You pretend to be so fucking sophisticated.
It's Appalachian. It's not Appalachian.
Look it up right now.
It's Appalachian. We proved this already on the podcast a couple months ago.
What, we talked about Appalachian?
Yes. And we did the Google. You look exactly like John Belushi.
And on that day, I'm going to be in that place. Sorry, what?
So Gino just texted me. He wants to tell us the story of
Of what?
what we're going to talk about.
What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the birthday party.
Not now.
Okay.
Boucher's got to be on the show.
Okay.
Are you even in radio?
Yeah.
You want to let Gino tell a story by himself?
I want him to prep.
People would rather hear me throw up on the fucking radio. What were your plans there as a producer? Give over the mic to Gino Bisconti? He's got a story about Mike Bichetti, people, and it's only funny if Bichetti's here. Bichetti's not here. He's crying over Stacey Pressman. So Mike threw a surprise birthday party for Stacey Pressman. And how did it go? It was last week, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear any reviews of it?
I guess the stakes didn't show. That's what I've heard.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's take this very slowly. Okay, here, guys, this might be the funniest Mike Bichetti story of all time. Now, I'm not going to go be a hypocrite and go against what I just said. I'll give you the tease. Okay? As Biggie Smalls would say, throw the keys to Little C's. Little C's being his cousin, Little Caesar. So to rhyme with keys, he would shorten it to C's, which is what the African-American rappers do brilliantly. They change the words, shorten them up, long them up to fit the rhyme. So instead of throw the keys to Little Caesar, he goes, fuck this. We'll make our own language. Throw the keys to Little C's. So, this is a tease. Another edition of Broadcasting Excellence by Rush Limbaugh. How do you get rid of nuclear weapons? Use them. This Rush Limbaugh Rule of Life number 17 brought to you by another successful caller abortion. Okay. Here's what happened. And again, there's a ton of amazing Mike Bichetti stories. Amazing. Again, his mother, he's 53 years old. He lives at home in Staten Island with his mother in the attic. He's never done a load of laundry. She cleans the bathroom for him. She cooks for him. She colors his hair. She holds up his stomach while he pees. Everything. Amazing woman. She will someday sit at the foot of God. And she will be one of his angels. And she will never, ever have to deal with her son Mike again. Who's the Antichrist in many ways. And a nice head of hair. And we love him. Funny guy. But this, he would eat. She would bring him up. The woman would bring up his dinner. Kid's 53. He's 600 pounds with the gout. Move a little, Mike. Move a little. The corners of his rooms, every once in a while we see it, and it was something he Skypes.
Periscopes.
Every once in a while we catch the corner of his room. And there is there's actually a civilization that's formed. There's actually a little town of insects, the type of insect we've never seen. I think the insects have actually intermated in his room, and he's in Mike's room in Staten Island, in the attic. New life forms have started, a new race of insects. Fireflies, illuminating colors you've never seen before. I never saw a magenta firefly until I went to Mike's room and saw one in the corner. There's spider webs that don't look quite like spider webs. They look like a human hammock. There's a sort of rope. There's knots in the spider web that only a civilization with thumbs and fingers and the use of those thumbs and fingers could possibly make. New life forms. Fascinating shit. Get a scientist up there. The dust has gotten so thick in the corner of Mike's room that new life forms have taken place.
Scientists are saying save the Galapagos Islands because
the turtles.
And there's life forms that you'll never see.
Exactly.
I think Staten Island should be saved.
Well, not Staten Island, specifically the attic of one very special house. Very special house. Even ISIS is afraid to recruit in Mike's house. No, I cannot do it. Mike put them on. He was considering, because Mike is considering a lot of different things to get an identity. Because he feels maybe he can get pussy if he joins ISIS. I said, do whatever you got to do. John Lennon said it, whatever gets you through the night, Mike. And if Mike Pachetti joins ISIS, it's only better for us, right? I mean, it gives us a better chance of beating that army. Artie, I joined ISIS. Artie.
I shot the general.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm beheading my first guy. Yeah, apparently an infidel from India. Let me do this for you people who don't like me eating on the show. Let me do this. You know what that is? That's Rick Steves and Dennis Rodman in the Wonder Worm shorts. Look how offended Dan gets. He loves Rick Steves, man. Puts his head down in shame. Oh, that's what happened. Anderson Cooper was on, and Dan lashed out. Dan lashed out in that homophobic, mad at himself for maybe being gay, and just lashed out at Anderson Cooper. I know. Lashed out at Anderson Cooper. Lashed out at him. Anderson Cooper, first of all, a very sophisticated guy. I like Anderson Cooper. Honestly, he's a good guy. I got a beer with him. Of course, he probably hates me. But, a classy guy, tells it like it is. I like Anderson Cooper. Probably has an agenda. Who knows what it is? The filthy liberals. Well, there we go. Dan is so, mad at gay people because he's like them. He says that Anderson Cooper doesn't sound gay. He doesn't sound like Rick Steves, who Dan loves, sounds like Liberace. Okay? Liberace. And I don't know, Mario Cantone had a kid, and that kid was too effeminate for them, and they kicked him out of the house. That's what Rick Steves sounds like. So Dan, by the way, Dan is in denial about it, because Rick Steves is what do you mean he's gay? He doesn't sound gay. He's got a wife and kids. He knows how to negotiate at hotels. That's why I shake and sweat around him. What are you, an asshole? Dan, he sounds like Liberace. No, what are you hearing? Whatever everyone else on the planet's hearing? Doesn't even want to consider the possibilities, Steve. Maybe one day he was curious and touched the cock. Oh, let me see what this is about. Well, the cameras are off in Brussels, and what happens? Big Steve's comes out. That's what happens. I put on my Mardi Gras mask. I put on my Stanley Kubrick, eyes wide shut, Tom Cruise, Sidney Pollack. Do you know the password orgy scene? I will redeem him. Orgy, by the way, 70 of the hottest chicks ever on the planet. Eyes wide shut orgy scene. Holy shit, where'd they find those fucking broads? Look at the cans on that fucking chick. I'd like to fuck her right in the brown. So anyway, Tom Cruise clearly the only person in there who's fucking, creepy. Everyone else with those masks on, you'd rather hang out with them. Absolutely. I'll change you from a rooster to a hen with one shot. Gino Bisconti. It's great. You have Gino Bisconti's name misspelled. I love it. Just one more person in show business who's never written down the name Gino Bisconti. I'll change you from a rooster to a hen with one shot. People say the show business and the mafia have anything in common. Yes, they do. Gino Bisconti and Rich Voss can't get in either one of them. Motherfucker! Anyway. So Pachetti, this is so fucking great. Pachetti is Stacey Pressman, who is the comic that's on here a lot. You know, Jew Broad, she's in here all the time. Very funny girl, very funny, very pretty, talented woman. You know, strong woman, been through a lot, was in kind of a loveless, boring marriage. She blew up because they both were unhappy. I guess I can say that, right, without any libels. She said it before.
Yes.
But they both ended very happily. They both went on and lived happily ever after. They're both thriving. Stacey's on the most unsuccessful podcast in the history of podcasts that I do in my kitchen. I have an 8-foot commute. I've been late 14 times. Sometimes I hit traffic by the bathroom. And Dan has to tell people here with odd looks on their face that Artie's in the bedroom, won't be out till 4:30 when they get here at 1. And, of course, what happens then? Very slowly, very surely, Chris Cotton starts to make the first of 52 sandwiches. All I hear is Chris Cotton slap. You hear Chris Cotton say stuff, yeah, I'm chilling, then you hear mustard slap down on him.
My favorite thing is
You hear Chris Cotton rustling through the silverware.
he doesn't bring it all out at once.
Yeah.
He takes it out each individual
thinks
thing
it makes it look-
because he's afraid that you might see
You're
him.
right, you look too heavy. A fat person does it. I've done it. You don't just eat stuff like with a shovel because you might look stupid. Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear Chris Cotton, African American, rustling through my silverware. That's always fucking. I'm like, I'm glad I put the fucking podcast in my actual apartment. Yeah. I ain't gonna be out for a while. I'll just chill over here, man. You want to look at the news, Chris? You and Gino maybe could look at the newspaper because we're gonna do a podcast that airs that fucking day, and your comedians, and every once in a while, comedians going back to Mort Saul and Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, all the greats, Carl, and they were up on the news. No, man, I got 15 minutes pretty good about my barbershop. No, what I do is I get up in the front, I get up on stage and call the chick in the front a cunt whore. How come I'm not on the Tonight Show, Mr. Fat Big Shot? Then if I start to get laughs or tell a story on my own podcast, Gino looks at me like Gotti's driver looked at Castellano walking out of Sparks that night. Wants to have me killed. Look back and go to Chris Cotton. He's gone, Chris. You're now the boss. No, I don't. No, I want to look at the paper. I'm chill, man. You're chill? Because in Montreal, guys, you were drunk and horribly unprepared for the gig that you begged me to come to. Yo, man, Montreal don't want to have me up there. That's fine, man. I'm over them, man. Oh, are you really over them? Are you? The biggest comedy festival in the fucking world. You guys are doing the fucking 10:50 spot on a Tuesday at a club called L.O. fucking L. You're not even doing LMAO. Or ha ha ha. Or blah blah blah. Or whatever the fuck you guys put in a goddamn text. You asshole young people. Whatever you text. Do you realize this generation is so insecure about being funny? They're so unfunny. They're the first generation that at the end of a sentence, they developed 4 different acronyms that tells you they just said something funny. Guess what? If you say something funny in the old days, people laugh. That's how you know it was funny. This generation goes, LOL, right? Right? You're laughing out loud at that, right? First time I had the audacity by accident, I texted LOL after something I texted to David Spade. It was a pause, and Spade texted this back. Hey, asshole, I'll tell you when something's funny. I don't need your LOL. He's so right. This generation developed a way to tell you I just said something funny. You say something funny, you'll know, because people generally fucking laugh. A bridge of Arabia. Okay. No, so they decline the paper and they make another sandwich. Then you hear the ham come out. I'm in my back room, huddling in the corner, crying, like Winona Ryder or Angela. What the fuck's Angelina Jolie and fucking.
And I'll get a text. When are these people leaving?
Are they still here? Are they still here? I'm shivering in my room. Shivering in my room.
If people only knew how true that was.
Of course, it's true. Think about all the shit I'm about to go in. Think about the looks they give me because I'm successful.
Listen, Artie, I have a 9 o'clock spot. Can I stay here from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 9 p.m.?
Yeah, why not? I'll be in the kitchen trying to fit my head in the blender. I'm gonna fit my head in the blender, and Dan's gonna push puree while you get out your.
And do you have any of those ferry tickets so I can?
Yeah.
Go to the...
And while you know what, I'm gonna try to kill myself while you get out your laptop and work on your website. Hey, look, I put a different font on like 1 gig I have in October. You think that'll sell some tickets? Think that'll move some tickets? I'm playing a basement in King of Prussia. next to the La Quinta Inn. You'll know it. There's an enormous poster of Bob Levy's dyed black hair. I'm playing a diner in Clementine, New Jersey. Me and a guy called Round Boy, big Eagles fan. Goes on stage with a black dildo coming out of his forehead. That's his bit. That's easy to follow. That's easy to follow. You follow? You're past posting, aren't you, Kelly? How? That's what I do a lot. Lately, by the way, that's a home run. Lately, by the way, I just lapse into Robert Shaw and the Sting. That's the only thing that cheers me up. You're past posting, aren't you, Kelly? How? We usually require a tie at this table, Mr. Shaw. If you don't have one, we can get you one. The name's Lonergan. Doyle Lonergan. You're going to be remembering that, Mr. Shaw. You're going to get yourself another game. You follow?
Hoopa?
Hoopa Drop. That's a different movie.
Yeah, I know.
Dan fucking changing the movie. Hoopa drives the boat, Chief. Hoopa. Of course, we're into Jaws now. Robert Shaw and Jaws. That'll also cheer you up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here lies Molly McGee. Died at the age of 103. For 15 years, she kept her virginity. Not a bad record for this vicinity. Hey, Chief, I see you brought your rubbers. If you see a shark, Chief, swallow. Yeah, Hooper, you're pretty good with all that fancy science stuff, but let me ask you this. Get out there and you stick this in old Whitey's mouth, and he just bites it off like a bitter pencil. What are you going to do then? All right, Chief, next time you want to tie a knot, you just ask me which one to pull, okay? I'm chumming. Try this, Chief. Made it myself. Not too bad if I might add. Here's to swinging with bow-legged women. Excuse me, Chief. The shark will swallow you whole. A little chewing, a little tenderizing. Down you go. June the 9th, 1945. We had the mission chief, the mission. We were on the Indianapolis. We had to deliver the Hiroshima bomb. About 6 a.m., torpedo hit us, left port side. Vessel went down in 14 minutes. 1,200 men went in the water, 1,200 souls. The first night wasn't so bad. We'd huddle together and make noise. None of us lost their minds yet. No one accidentally drank the water, Chief. You know what happens when you drink salt water, Chief? In the blaring hot sun of the South China Sea. It's not water you can drink, Chief. It's salt water. You lose your mind. You get dementia within 14 minutes. You swim off to a mirage that ain't there. You swim off to a wife and kids that ain't there, and you slowly go away. And you know, Chief, that you can't save your friend. There's no saving him. There's just saving you. We didn't see the first shark till daybreak. Tiger shark. 18-footer. You know you can tell how long they are, Chief, in the water? You know you can tell? The dorsal fin. The dorsal fin to the tail. That's how you tell. 18-footer tiger shark. Usually not an aggressive shark, but they were in my group. 14 guys huddled together. You just said to yourself, please don't let me be the one. One by one, you'd see that quick pull. The guy's neck would snap back, and then he'd go under. And then the sea would turn red. And you said, please don't let me be the next guy. Helicopter came at about 10 p.m. When you're waiting for your turn to get on that helicopter, Chief, that's the longest wait. That's the worst time. I started looking around to see if my friends were all right. Swam over to my friend, Donnie Levy, baseball player from Cleveland, pitcher, good guy. I thought he was sleeping. I hit him on his shoulder, and Donnie turned around. He bobbed up sideways, eyes closed, horror look on his face. Well, Donnie had been bitten in half at the waist. By 8:45, I finally got into the helicopter. They slowly moved me up with the winch. I'll never wear a life jacket again. I got into the helicopter and I got home safe. That's what happened June the 6th, 1945. 1,200 men went in the water. 200 come out. Anyway, we delivered the bum. What's that tattoo there? Had that removed. SS Indianapolis. You're on the Indianapolis, yeah. What's that? Mary Ann McGee. She broke my heart. What's that one there? Thresher shark. Got me while I was out schooning for fisher bugs. Every once in a while, Richard Dreyfuss says something in that movie that is, I don't know, some salesman thing. I was schooning for fisher bugs, and a Scanlick came over and turned my outboard into an inboard. Anyway, June the 6th, 1945, 1,200 men went in the water, 200 come out. Anyway, we delivered the bum. We were delivering the bomb, the real bomb, the Hiroshima bomb. You're not going to do this on the boat, are you, Mr. Quint? Maybe I'll go alone. My vessel. On my vessel, I'm the captain. I'm the captain of my vessel. Maybe you'll come along, Chief. How's Mrs. Chiefy doing? Listen. I'm not going to chase this shark for $3,000, Chief. I won't kill him. I'll chase him for $3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10. $10,000, Chief. That's my offer. For that, you get the tail, the fin, the teeth, the whole damn thing. You're going to want me to do this piece of work. I'm the only guy on the island who can do it. Get your businesses back to a paying proper level. You let me know, Chief. Mr. Mayor, you know how to get me. Y'all know me. You know how I earn a living. I hunt sharks. I'm talking about working for a living. I'm talking about sharking. Well, I'm not talking about catching some guppy or carp fish. I'm talking about catching a great white. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Let me feel them. You got scales on your hands. He's got city hands, Chief. He's been counting money all his life. I love that line. He's got city hands, Chief. He's been counting money all his life. You know what he's saying? He's a Jew. Read between the lines. That's what Robert Shaw is saying there. As anti-Semitic as you get. An anti-Semitic Irishman tells it like it is. And Dreyfuss knew it too. He's like, fuck you, motherfucker. But together they get together, and guess what they do? They kill a white shark, not a black shark. Very significant, the color of the shark. Very significant, the color of the shark in that movie. There's some racial overtones like in King Kong. King Kong. Think about the racial overtones on that one, Chief. Big ape. Blonde woman. Saved by a white man. Thing that doesn't happen in that movie is she doesn't get fucked by the ape ever. She wouldn't have left that island. One time, one toss in the hay with King Kong, baby. You know what you're getting. You're getting an orgasm. Even if a woman under Sharia law has her clitoris removed, King Kong will get her to come. As Mick Jagger said, you make a dead man come. This shark will swallow you whole. You're not going to catch him with any... We're not talking about going for tommycocks and bluegills. That's the line. We're not talking about going for tommycocks and bluegills. We're talking about bagging a great white. Not going to do it for $3. It's a mean fish. Now, you look at that. You look at that vandalism, Chief. I want these kids caught, and I want them hung up by their Buster Browns. And I want to be open on the 4th of July. Going to be the best damn summer we ever had. You're ringing the dinner bell, for Christ's sakes.
How does Robert Osborne not have you on the Turner Classic Movies?
How does Robert Osborne not have me on? Let me take a stab at that one. Well, guess what we're showing today? It's a Joan Crawford marathon, and that's why I got up with a skip in my step today. I'm Robert Osborne. That's right, I'm wearing a lavender tie. You know why that is? Because we're celebrating Joan Crawford. No more wire hangers ever, unless you talk her into that abortion. Let me tell you something. Joan Crawford could play it all, and she does in this film, the film we're going to show today. What are we showing? Mommy Dearest. Joan was way over the hill by this point, because she was actually Faye Dunaway, playing Joan Crawford. I just made a mistake. We'll take that again. I'm Bill Curtis. Welcome to American Justice. Tonight on American Justice, Real Justice, a Chicago man kills 11 nurses outside of Joliet. What happened? He entered the nurses' quarters in 1966. You could do that. There was a sense of innocence that came over the whole town until Richard Speck came into town. He was trying to push out as a longshoreman, couldn't get his license till the next day, so he had time to kill. And what did he do? He walked into a bar and a local flop house. Then Richard Speck did something he never thought he would do before. He purchased a knife. Not any ordinary knife, a hunting knife, a knife that'll cut a human being up real quickly. Then on American Justice, Richard Speck found he cased out, if you will, a dormitory full of nursing students outside of Joliet, Illinois, just a stone's throw from Chicago, where one night at a dinner party I told Dan Filato, a young Dan Filato, that I nicknamed my penis the kidney disturber. Dan shared with me after 4 glasses of Chardonnay that he nicknamed his penis the matrimonial peacemaker. We both threw up from disgust. After we threw up, we wiped our mouths, but not thoroughly. We had no hot water. A water main break had happened again in Hoboken, New Jersey, somehow affecting Illinois. Even though Dan Filato had not met Artie Lang, he was 11 years old. He heard Artie Lang screaming "fuck" in New Jersey. That's neither here nor there. What happened after that dinner party is disturbing. I want to see how long sometimes you can make this noise. Disturbing. From behind the prison walls came a very dark, short, yet chilling message. Kill a cop. And Officer Byrne was parked on the corner of 23rd Avenue and Avenue B. 2 avenues in a row. Odd. In Queens, Woodside, Queens, went a lone gunman, a gangbanger by the name of Rufus Jackson, came up from the other side of that car and fired 4 bullets into Officer Burns' skull. Officer Burns, a absolute pride of the police academy, was only 22 years old when he got on the job. It was his lifelong dream to become a New York City cop. He became the first in a long line of Irish cops and his family very proud, the first to ever be shot, the first to ever be in fact killed in the line of duty. Kill a cop. That's all he said from behind the prison walls. It was now up to prosecutors, who included a young Rudy Giuliani at the time, to convict the gang member, in fact the head of the gang. But they'd have to do it in a very unique fashion from behind prison walls. They'd have to prove that he said, kill a cop. They'd have to prove that he in fact gave the order. Not an easy task, unless you think the task has been given to American Justice. The kidney disturber became my new nickname for my cock. I told Dan Filato this. We swore him to secrecy. Dan told the first person he could tell. It happened to be Steve Dahl on a radio show that a lot of people listened to, so he completely betrayed me. I told everybody I could think of that Dan Filato was even creepier, nicknaming his penis the matrimonial peacemaker. No one knew what that meant. After I told local law enforcement, they found Dan creepy and put an APB out on him. They didn't know what to think of it. Did he actually use his cock as a battering ram and beat a woman with it? Or was he in fact saying something even creepier, a boast, in fact, that he fucked a woman so well with that cock that any problems you had in your marriage would go away? Was he offering these services to me and my wife? Was this in fact Dan Filato's way at the age of 17, fresh off Disco Demolition? A major success. Little did Dan know his life in radio would go downhill from Disco Demolition. And one day he'd in fact be working with an overweight diabetic by the name of Artie Lang, a heroin addict who did a show in his kid room. For some reason, Dan stayed here and never left. It's here Dan died underneath newspapers. Artie was in the back room, not able to move from a bad gout infection. Mike Bichetti had moved in by this point. It was 2022. Bichetti's mother had died. His brothers were jailed for armed robbery. One hung himself in prison with some cheese wrap that he had gotten from his mother's pantry, ironically enough. The other brother shaved his head lest he was seen in Kabul, shooting up morphine on a corner. He then joined ISIS and accidentally killed his own father again, who was dead already. The story gets very disturbing. The mother's body was never moved to the proper burial ground. She's currently buried at a grave that's marked Gino Bisconti. We know no matter what the grave is marked, though, that woman is sitting at the foot of the Lord, watching her sons getting sodomized by the Kardashians' father in hell. While Kardashian's father watches on a loop his daughter Kim getting ass raped and ass fucked by an African-American rapper by the name of Ray J. In a horrible turn of angst and irony, he realizes, why are we famous as Kardashians? And it hits him. TV cameras were rolling when these two events happened. The father got OJ off, and Kim got Ray J off. Both of them have the last name J. As a comedian, I made that observation. That's what we do. The kidney distributor moved on throughout Chicago, the south side of Chicago, disturbing kidneys throughout the land, doing harm, while Dan got a good name for himself. His cock was making marriages peaceful again. He used that power of his cock being a matrimonial peacemaker for good. He could have used it for bad. He was saving marriages all over the place. But one marriage he couldn't save was his own. Dan was married to comedy. Dan was married to radio. Disco Demolition was a big success. Everyone involved was unbelievably happy. Yet everyone involved met a tragic end. Steve Dahl was last seen purchasing a Hawaiian shirt in Pittsburgh. He was yelling at the Korean man selling him the shirt. He tried it on in a makeshift dressing room that the Korean man had made out of bamboo shears and a makeshift padlock. It wasn't enough to hold in Dahl's enormous girth. He turned around too quickly, and one of the buttons of the Hawaiian shirt snapped off, taking out the eye of the Korean man's wife. She went crazy, pulled out a load of laundry, and hit a stunned Steve Dahl in the face with scorching hot laundry. He was last seen running away, pantless, underwearless, his cock running around in the wind, pubic hair all over the place, covered only by his enormous stomach. His belly button by this point looked like a kiddie pool, filled with jizz. Apparently the Korean man had masturbated into the belly button of Steve Dahl, filling it up, scraping it up. It hardened like cement. Dahl woke up from a vodka stupor. He was smoking a cigarette in a big holder, a.k.a. the wife in the Addams Family. He then put the first thing he could find on. It was the Hawaiian shirt he was trying to purchase. It didn't fit, and he ran away, naked from the waist down, third-degree burns all over his face, a Hawaiian shirt that didn't fit him. And he kept yelling out bad knock-knock jokes that he had learned from Dr. Dirty John Belby at Zany's one night. The last thing he heard before he blew up from bad health. The last thing you heard him say was this: knock, knock. Someone from the crowd said, "Who's there?" He said louder, "Knock, knock." They said, "Who's there?" He said, "Gladiator." She said, "Gladiator who?" And he yelled out, "Gladiator at the gangbang." Then he yelled out, "Knock, knock." They said, "Who's there?" "Knock, knock. Who's there?" Steve Dahl, once again naked from the waist down, a Hawaiian shirt that didn't fit him, third-degree burns all over his face, and a Morticia Adams cigarette, yelled out, "Emerson." They said, "Emerson who?" He said, "Emerson, nice tits, bitch. I'm gladiator at the gangbang." And then he blew up. There were no explosives on him. He couldn't fit in any suicide vest made in the Eastern world. He committed suicide by all of his organs blowing up simultaneously. They couldn't take one more bad knock-knock joke. They had heard Emerson nice bitches all over the world. He had done those two jokes all over the world in comedy clubs in Paris, London, Uruguay, Brussels. He once asked Rick Steves that joke when they passed each other at a La Quinta Inn in Amsterdam. Steve Dahl was trying to get a deal on the room, and Rick Steves said, "I can help you with a deal on the room." And he said, "Get away from me, sister. I don't swing that way." A homophobic fight broke out. That's when Rick Steves pulled out his karate. They had learned at an Eastern European karate school from Vladimir Putin's nephew, Daniel. He snapped Dahl's neck in half, setting up the events later when his entire body would explode from bad liver, pancreas, and spleen disease. Rick Steves then took both rooms. One for his wife, one for a guy named Manny. What Manny did, we don't know. But when Rick left the La Quinta Inn the following Monday, his knees were especially scraped. His lederhosen drenched in blood. Steve Dahl and Rick Steves said to themselves, we have something in common. What do we have in common? The matrimonial peacemaker, Dan Filato, had crossed both of our lives. I said, I'm the kidney disturber. Dahl said, really? I've heard about you. He said, do you know where I can buy a Hawaiian shirt? He said, have you heard of disco demolition? They said, no. Has any Amsterdam woman heard of it? Can I get laid off being the creator of disco demolition in Amsterdam? Rick Steves stopped laughing long enough to throw up some bloody orgasm that he had left in the middle of his cheek. He had the ability, like an empire penguin, to store cum in his mouth. And when he found a young homosexual person that he wanted to feed, he would throw up a milky substance. Much like Morgan Freeman said in March of the Penguins. Then Steve Dahl would throw up a milky substance. And he would put it like a penguin, like a tiny little penguin bird. He would throw up the bloody jizz orgasm into the mouth of a young, effeminate boy.
But he wouldn't re-eat the jizz because Tim Sabian didn't like it.
Right. Tim Sabian didn't like it. As a matter of fact, Ken Cole called that after him. Said Steve, Ken Cole, listen, love the jizz bit. Love the regurgitating jizz bit. Now, listen, Steve, I know it seems edgy. And I know some of the sponsors are going to bail on us. Matter of fact, Ed's Dry Cleaning's on the phone right now. I've got to talk to him. That's a big account. That bill's about $118 a year. I'll take care of it. You leave it to old Ken Cole. The one thing Ken Cole can do is talk a dry cleaner into buying time on this goddamn news station. What you've got to do is work on that bit. Caress it. Work on it as if it's an old SCTV sketch that you know you can make better. This is Ken Cole once again. I love that sketch. The sketch sucks, Ken. Of course, the sketch is horrible. Once again, Steve Dahl changed Ken Cole's mind. He did it again. Steve Dahl laid down an open casket, an enormous casket. He laid in state, much like Babe Ruth. No one came. And just when you thought no one would come, guess who did come? Mr. Loyal, Mr. Good Guy, Mr. Dan Filato. That's right. The matrimonial peacemaker made his peace with Ken Cole. Steve Dahl. And Rick Steves. The kidney disturber. Ladies and gentlemen, what you've just heard is probably the weirdest broadcasting show in the history of radio. What you just heard proves that I stopped caring. Today, I shot an HBO pilot with arguably the biggest director-producer in the history of comedy, Judd Apatow. I'm the second lead. I play myself. The name of the episode is Artie Lang. That's what I've done the last week. I'm the second lead of the fucking show. That's right. How'd that happen? My life is a bizarre twist of a stupid carnival ride. It makes no sense. My life is someone you look at and you go, my God, they have an abnormally large cranium. They look disgusting. They look like they're from another planet. Then all of a sudden they dance like Fred Astaire for 2 seconds. Inconsistently. Then they go back into the darkness and trip. And their face falls into horseshit. They do heroin, they come out. They sing a song that's racist. They're banned from another broadcasting network. Then they turn up in their kitchen doing a podcast with Dan Filato. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. What you just heard is probably the stupidest, craziest, nonsensical, chaotic shit you've ever heard in your life. Nothing I said in the last hour and a half. How long have I been talking?
An hour and a half,
An hour and a half.
1 hour, 33 minutes, and 24 seconds.
For the last 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 22 seconds, you've heard nothing. I've just said 4,000 words, and I've said nothing. I've done stupid voices that make no sense. I've done characters that make no sense, told jokes that have no structure. I've done horrible impressions. Dan Filato once again gave me nothing. He sat there quiet most of the time. Couldn't even fake laugh. He looked down in disgust and embarrassment, leaving me out to dry. You hear that dead silence? You think that's fun when you're doing a Richard Speck impression? No. Dan refuses to give me anything. Gino Bisconti, nothing. I'm like a tweet that doesn't mention Gino Bisconti's name. He ignores it. Chris Cotton, nothing. Ever. Ever. Filato, nothing. Ever. I'm here. I'm hung out to dry. Everyone says, when are we going to do the podcast? You going to do the podcast? You do the podcast? You want to do the podcast? Do the podcast? I sit down, I talk, and I get nothing. They press on, and I talk like this. They don't even fake laugh, not a giggle. Throw me a bone, proving they've never done comedy. They've never done it because they know. If they had, give me something. Slap the table. Make a noise. I'm hung out to dry, doing a Bill Curtis impression. Giving highlights of a dinner party in a backyard in Chicago where people name their penises. I'm bringing that up. Disco Demolition references. I'm talking about Rick Steves, Rick in L.A., Mexican impressions. I'm telling horrible racist
Rick
jokes.
Speck.
Rickard Speck. Yeah, Dan adds that. Made no sense. First time he opens his mouth. Makes no sense. Digs a deeper hole for me. That's what he did. Today I shot an HBO pilot. I finished the take. People applauded. They laughed. They said, Artie, great job, great job. Maybe we'll make you a regular. You're going to be on this show. You're going to be a big star. HBO, blah, blah, blah. Then I come here and it's the same shit. Dan's like, we're going to do a podcast. We got to do a podcast. You guys want to do a podcast? Well, if I do the podcast, will you help me out at all? If I just keep talking for an hour and a half, will you do anything? Probably not. Okay. Thank you. Can you fake laugh at all? Because it's hard when there's just dead silence. Probably not. What will you be doing? Well, nothing. Okay. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate your help. Wonderful. Well, hopefully we can catch the late sex, drugs, and rock and roll marathon. It's on FX. Maybe there's a good guy on Biography. My point is, you people pay $7 a month, and what you just heard was gibberish. Matter of fact, if I were you people, not only would I refuse to pay the $7 a month, not only would I would take American Express or Visa to court if they tried to charge me $7 this month after hearing what I just did for an hour and 35 minutes. And after hearing Dan do nothing in dead silence, you'd probably assume Dan's given up on the program too. You'd probably assume Dan is silent because he's making plans for something else. He's given up. Why else would he be dead silent while I'm pouring out my guts? Unbelievable. I don't see the back and forth. I feel I'm really being ripped off here. But no one's more ripped off than you at home. Let me tell you, I'll go you one step further. Not only, if I were you, the anger I'd have for paying money for what you just heard. I was doing a Rick Steves impression for about 42 straight minutes. No one knows who Rick Steves is unless they've heard this show. Unless they know about Dan. They see Dan at some of the meetings, whatever it is. The meetings that eventually will take out a subway train. We're afraid of terrorists. How about Rick Steves fans? There's a laugh. Why don't we get the FBI on that one? How about surveillance on those people? How about Rick Steves himself, his family, his so-called family? Are we sure those people are related to Rick fucking Steves? Has he ever come in a vagina? I don't think so. My opinion. Nobody else's opinion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else to say. I'd be mad. Not only would I refuse to pay the $7, I'd really find it hard not to find the closest garage and rummage through the garage for softball equipment and find the rustiest 35-year-old Adirondack fungo bat, aluminum fungo bat with rust on it, drive to wherever I am using the GPS, come up to the apartment, get into the apartment by force, and cave in the sides of the heads of me and Dan with that fungo bat. That's what I would want to do. On top of not paying the $7. I would want to physically assault Dan and I for putting you through this.
But you can't wash the blood off your hands because there's no water.
Of course, the water main break. Every once in a while, I feel as a practical joke on just me. That's how paranoid I am. I wake up in the morning, and I see a notice. It says no water today. You wake up, it says no water today. What is water? Water's life. Even the cavemen had water. The people who were condemned to the worst slums on the planet by the Romans, the Greeks, the Japanese, internment camps, the one thing they were all given was water. Water! I wake up, I'd say 4 times a month. And in my condo. In my condo that I purchased for $620. I purchased this condo in 2001 after a very successful 6-year run in television, movies, and stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, California. On the road, etc., etc., etc. After that 6-year run, I came back to do the Howard Stern show. 2001, I bought this apartment. Okay? 2001, I bought this apartment. I bought it for $615,000. I closed very quickly. Paid off the mortgage within 3 years. I just had it assessed by some Asian broad for about $1.3 million. Dan claims that's low. It's got the best view of Manhattan you could possibly imagine.
I think it's low.
Dan thinks it's low. What would you value this apartment at, Dan? Again, I bought it for $615,000. Worked my ass off doing stand-up comedy. Paid it off. In 3 years. Dan, your assessment on this apartment?
I would say, with this view, I would say 1.6, 1.8.
Wow. You know what I'd say? I'm Gladiator in the gangbang. Whatever it is. The point is I made a very good move here. Now, on the flip side of that, in 2007, I purchased a 8,000 square foot mansion on a bay with a built-in pool and a jacuzzi. An enormous shower with 18 shower heads. You could put on a full concert in there. Sirius radio wired up throughout the house. Stewardesses running amok. Enormous walk-in closets where 3 separate women have come into my life, stayed in my life, said they'd marry me in that life, moved out of that apartment, not a sign of a human being in that apartment while I did a gig in the Midwest that they said they'd be back. When I came back, they said they'd be there. When I came back, it looked like the Grinch who stole Christmas had gone through my apartment. And what was gone? Well, it escalated throughout. The first girl took a notebook. The second girl took a very expensive purse I bought for her. The third girl took a $40,000 diamond ring. But they all took my pride. I loved every one of them. I hate me. That's what I decided. I hate me. Go with Godspeed, girls. I then said, fuck it. I moved in Dan Filato. We're going to see how that goes. But while I went up in price here, and you'd say I'm a good businessman real estate-wise, let me get to the end of this story. 8,000 square foot mansion. My dream mansion. I built it myself. Well, a couple of organized crime figures built it, and I had to fight them, but we eventually built it. Brand new house when I moved in. Had a big party. I got back from Afghanistan. That's right. I had to stand up for the troops. I called the operation Mirth. I was the head of the operation. We were under mortar attack. Dan making a noise like a human being's in the room. Thank you. We were under mortar attack midway through that entire crazy tour. We stood tall. The Daily News said that the court jesters of Howard Stern's court kingdom, me and Baba Booey, almost died. Picture of me and Baba Booey. The other comedians who almost died during that mortar attack were the great Jim Florentine, Dave Attell, Nick DiPaolo. I put this group together, and we went and we performed for the troops in 10 days. In southern Russia is where we started. We did a stand-up at a barracks there. I was given a African-American bodyguard who was a Marine who constantly did fat jokes. He said, if a mortar hits you, Artie, you're just going to be dust. You won't feel it. There was a pause, and he said, you're going to be a lot of dust. So have an apple, motherfucker, because I got to clean that shit up. I would then fake laugh at the joke, unlike Dan does, because this guy saved my life every day. Much more important to me. By the way, he's much more articulate, but that accent's funnier. So, we're under mortar attack. The next day, there's an article in the Daily News. We're wondering if our families are worried about us. We get a phone. Florentine, somebody got a phone. We could call home. I called the girl I was dating at the time. I said I was fine. I called my mother and sister. I'm fine. Florentine, teary-eyed, tells his mother, fine. The mother had read it in the newspaper. DiPaolo calls his wife, teary-eyed, fine. Everybody's fine. We give the phone to Dave Attell. We hear this from Dave Attell. Yeah, I can do Thursday and Friday after 9:45. We said, Dave, what are you doing? He said, I'm calling in my available times. I can do stand-up at the Comedy Cellar next week. We call them avails as comics. We said, collectively, Dave, are you calling in your avails from a mortar attack in Kandahar? He has a mother. He said, yeah. Dave had no idea why. We thought that was surprising. Dave called in his avails from Kandahar after we were under mortar attack and it made the newspaper. That's a comedian, ladies and gentlemen. That's when you know you're a comedian. Thank you. Dave Attell, one of the funniest people ever. He will die with a fraction of the money Will Smith will have from comedy. And that is why I want to leap off the Chrysler Building. That's right. So here I make about $1 million in 7 years. I bought that 8,000 square foot mansion in Toms River for $2.5 million. 8 years later, after a hurricane, and apparently, I don't know, people upset with me and maybe my past. I don't know what happened here. It was just assessed for $58,000. I'm kidding. It's much lower. But we're hoping to sell it soon. I paid off quite a bit of it, thank God, so I don't have a lot to pay off. But the point is this, people. At this point, at the age of 48, even though I shot a HBO pilot with Judd Apatow, the pinnacle of television and show business, and I have an incredibly fun podcast that allows me to get a great view of Dan Filato's profile and the best view of New York City and the world. And I wake up, even though I think I'm a big deal in show business, with an HBO call time, and I still get a text from Dan Filato going, Gino Bisconti can't come in till 3. Joe Matarese wants to know if you could tweet out his Fixing Joe podcast. Another classic episode's airing.
A classic.
Another classic Fixing Joe Matarese podcast airing, Art. Guess what the classic is? He talks about when the time he was watching the landscapers rake his leaves from his kitchen.
He texted me this morning. Wait, I got to tell you.
I don't want to hear it.
He texted me.
Who?
Joe.
Okay, Joe Matarese.
Hold on, where are you, Joe?
I can't do it, Dan. I can't do it. I have to go. I'm going to put my head in the blender. I can't do this anymore. All right. This is Aaron tonight, I guess. I'm done. I don't know what I just did. I don't know what I had. I thought I had an agenda. I was going to tell you all about the HBO. I was on the set the last 4
Dan,
days.
can you tweet this?
Why did you just fucking interrupted me? What now? What? Now he talks. I'm telling a story.
Dan,
what?
can you tweet this?
This better be funny.
Please put it in Artie's words.
Yeah.
Here's a classic Fixing Joe
Classic.
with the guest Damone from Fast.
Okay. MASH doesn't even call it classic. All right. I don't know. I was going to talk about being on the set of the show. I mean, it was fun. The last 4 days I've been shooting. I rehearsed with Judd Apatow for a full day. Got to see how he directs. You know, it's a exciting shit. Been in the business a long time. I worked with a lot of major people. Made money. I met icons, legends like Howard I worked with, all that shit. Did movies with Tom Cruise, Norm, Martin Sheen. TV shows with people like Laurie Metcalf, Network. But I was on the same call sheet as Richard Pryor once on the Norm Show. I'll tell you what. I was in Chris Farley's last scene Chris Farley ever did in a movie. I'm in it. I'm proud of that. But today I got to work with, Judd Apatow. It was like almost like a modern day Mel Brooks for us. Gets comedy on after comedy. Pick a comedy. A 40-year-old virgin, knocked up. He produced Anchorman movies. Fucking, God damn it.
Superbad.
Bridesmaids. Superbad. Our friend Amy's movie, Trainwreck. Big hit this summer. But hit after hit. The show Girls on HBO, and now his next HBO show, Girls will probably get syndicated. There's a little scratch in his fucking pocket. The next show is about stand-up comedy. A great, great, funny comic named Pete Holmes is the lead, and I'm playing myself in it about stand-up. Where I'm in the whole fucking show, for Christ's sakes. The name of the episode, the pilot episode, Artie Lang, which, of course, puts the stench of cursed-out failure on it. I said, Pete, the name of the pilot is Artie Lang? He said, yeah. I said, when exactly will you be starting your job as a lifeguard in the greater Illinois area? Yeah. Well, so I got to rehearse with him. In the last 4 days, I've done like 12-hour days with Judd. And we shot in Brooklyn on Comedy Cellar outside on location. And he lets you improv. It's just so much fucking fun, man. So many times. Movies like Beer League, I'm so proud of it. Like Frank Sebastiano was a miracle worker. But that's how you do a lot of shit in this business. No money, no time. Boom, boom, boom. Judd Apatow let us improvise, me and Pete, in the entire rehearsal. And he said, look, we'll have 3 cameras running with film on the day of the fucking shoot, and we'll just yell out every option. We'll try every option that you improv. He transcribed everything we improv. He just had it written down. Try this, try that. And then Judd, one of the most brilliant comedic minds we've ever seen, was yelling out jokes. Try this, try that. And I'd try something. Pete would try something. That's what we did. That's how we shot the fucking show. And now we have 2 late days left. We're almost done. The hard part's over, though. This kid basically shot his pilot. And I'm with him in the whole thing. It's very exciting. After, been making a living for 21 years with nothing else. I stopped driving a cab 21 years ago to do Mad TV. I haven't looked back. I haven't had any other job. I guess I'm proud of that. Took care of my mom financially. I try to help out some friends. I'm a complete loser in a lot of ways, very flawed. I'm an asshole. I'm a drug addict, horrible heroin addict. Tried that in my life once. I'm sorry, twice. And I was on dope, though. Otherwise, I'd still be in the joint. Got arrested, DUIs. A lot of things on paper make me look questionable, is my point. But I've done some positive things, too. I try to help people out. Stand-up is great. It's exciting. You get to see the world. You do stand-up, get paid for it. You meet the funniest people in the world. I'm not putting myself in that group, but I was lucky enough to go to work as a comedian. You meet the funniest people on the planet Earth. That's who you go to work with. When I go to work, when I got nothing else going on, I want to work on material, I go to a place called the Comedy Cellar or the Village Underground downtown. And when I go there, on any given day, I'll see Dave Attell. Arguably the best comedian ever, in my opinion. If you're going to go, who would you really want to see do a 20-minute set of stand-up comedy on a Wednesday night at a club in New York that holds about 120 hip, kind of drunk people? Who do you want to stand in the back of the room and see do a 20-minute set? Every time I will say, Mr. Dave Attell. I'll give you the first joke I heard Dave Attell do. It's dated. It involves a cassette recorder. This is 1992. This is the joke he did. You know, John Denver missed the boat musically. I was in a record store the other day, ancient reference, and a John Denver cassette cost 99 cents. A blank cassette cost $2.50. John Denver could triple his money if he'd shut the fuck up. I had to go outside to laugh. I laughed for 4 minutes. John Denver could triple his money if he'd shut the fuck up. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Sometimes my buddy Earthquake will be in there. Great comic. Black comic. I don't know why I feel the need to say black, but I will. He might have my favorite punchline of all time. Describing by John Kerry, who's married to Teresa Hines, the condiment queen. Ketchup, mustard. He's saying if John Kerry, why is he a senator? Why is he Secretary of State? Why is he running for president? Why would he work? He's married to Teresa Hines. Hines! You know what Hines is? So he goes, if I was president, someone said, hey, John Kerry, you want to fucking be president? President? Shit. My bitch owned ketchup. Every time a nigga order French fries, ka-ching, ka-ching. My bitch own ketchup. Whenever I'm sad, and it's every day, every second of the day, sometimes I get happy. I turn around and I see Dan in a navy blue cub hat, wrinkles on his eyes and a face, and eyes looking into a distance that says, what could have been? And I have the same look on my face. And then I think of Earthquake as John Kerry saying, my bitch own ketchup. Grammatically, it's got some flaws. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is true. It's funny because it's true. Basically, his bitch owned ketchup. It's Heinz ketchup. Name another ketchup. If you say Hunt's, I'm going to smack you in the face. It's tomato water. His bitch owned ketchup. And then he nails it with, after that 5-minute laugh, how about this tag, as we call it in the business? Every time a nigga order French fries, a ketchup. Ah! How about Richard Pryor? Richard Pryor's album called That Nigger's Crazy. That's the name of the album. I'm not lying. As a white man, I had to buy it. Very tough. Black kid behind the counter at Braley's department store. I wanted to get That Nigger's Crazy by Richard Pryor. In those days, you had to ask for it by name. Black kid said, what do you want? I said, I want a Richard Pryor album. He said, which one? I said, wow. I said, I don't know. Which one? The one that's out now? Which one? He knew the problem, and he was fucking with me. I said, that something's crazy? No, be more specific. That Nixon's crazy, like a political album. No. Not ringing. Something more specific. Awkward pause, and then I was such a pussy. I bought the least controversial album. I bought a Bangles album. And when I got to the white neighborhood and I felt safe while I was listening to Manic Monday, so mad at the pussy I was for not being able to say That Nigger's Crazy when it's the name of the album. I'm a fan. I'm not a racist. I'm a fan. Couldn't say it to the black kid. I got so frustrated when I was in the white neighborhood and I was, okay and safe. I opened up my window and I yelled out to make myself feel better. That Nigger's Crazy. That's the name of the fucking album. That Nigger's Crazy. Screamed it. I felt better. Unfortunately, it was garbage day. Oh. And for the rest of that story, you might want to contact my Blue Cross Blue Shielding. You go to work with the fucking funniest people on the planet. Oh, God. Funny guys and funny guys. You know what I'm saying?
I think we do.
Funny guys and funny girls who repeat the jokes of funny guys. Stop being ridiculous. Of course, I'm kidding. So many famous women. Funny women, I mean. Funny women. So many funny women. Oh, God, I'm trying to think of one. Anyway, we'll move on. Oh, there's a lot of Mario Cantone. One of the funniest people ever, by the way, Mario Cantone. Another one I got to know. I'm so privileged to know Mario Cantone. So fucking funny. I will be with Mario Cantone, right? December the 1st.
Yes.
Harry Shearer, his wife Judith, doing a very, very great thing for charity December 1st at the Brooklyn Academy of the... listen, BAM, right? I am going to be in between like Paul Schaefer and all these great, great artists and people. Harry fucking Shearer. Is there a better treasure of comedy than Harry fucking Shearer? I'm going to be on his Christmas show with his wife Judith, who's unbelievably talented. Welsh woman. I was supposed to go last year, but of course, my 120 10 milligram Percocet habit a day gave me pancreatitis. Apparently, that wasn't in the memo. I was out for 3 weeks. And I recovered and I missed the show, but I'm going this year. I'm going this fucking year because all I take is Sudafed. Well, that's it. Who are all these people? My Jerry Seinfeld impression. Who are all these people? ArtieQuitter.com. And look, this airs tonight at some point or tomorrow. We gave you... But tomorrow, let's fucking do it. Hey, well, that's what we got to promote. This won't be on tomorrow. The podcast tomorrow, talk about the funniest people ever.
Well, why don't we stop?
And do what?
So we'll end this one.
Let's end this one.
Okay.
Okay. Go to ArtieQuitter.com. This Saturday, November the 28th, they sold out. They added another section of the show at Valley Forge Casino.
Nice.
Outside of Philly. Oh, Dan, stop with the fake. So fake.
Well, I didn't know that.
Say nice fucking or fake laugh. And some of the shit I'm doing, dude. I mean, honestly, man, you just don't care. You want to keep doing this? You want to get a job? Yeah, right there. That's all I need. Giggle. A bridge to Tarabithia. November 28th, I'm at Valley Forge Casino outside of Philly. And December 26th, 27th, one of those dates I'm at Foxwoods, and one of those dates I'm at the Wilbur Theater in Boston. 26, 27. Check the website. Got a lot coming up. I'm trying to book something in like St. Louis or Cleveland or Detroit. Hey, if you're listening to this and you want me to come to Detroit or St. Louis or Cleveland or a Midwestern town where it gets cold and you love your sports, I'll come New Year's Eve. I will. But I need you guys to really bombard me on Twitter. If you want me to come. If you don't, I get it. But it's last minute. My agent's going, it's too last minute. If you can find a room in Nova Theater that might want to have me or bump somebody, I'm willing to come out there for some scratch. We'll tell some jokes. I got Russ Maneve ready to go. And, Cleveland, St. Louis, my favorite cities, Detroit. Haven't been to Cincy in a while. I'll go to Cincy. Pittsburgh. Buffalo. New Year's Eve show. Let me know if you want to do it. If not, we'll see you next year. But December 26th and 27th, one of those dates, Wilbur Theater in Boston, for sure. One of my favorite places on the planet. Foxwoods in Connecticut at the theater, for sure. One of those dates, the 2 days after Christmas. And this Saturday, November 28th, I will definitely be Valley Forge Casino outside of Philly for the great Philadelphia people. The closest I've ever been to a Klan meeting is an Eagles home game in the upper deck. Racist poems. Once again, I'll end with this. I've said it before. I never knew how many words ended in Igor. And I will end this by saying, Dan once again is leaving me out to dry. Are you afraid if you laugh at that, you'll lose some sort of deal you have with Eddie Bauer? Yeah. How come, is there really a hatred for me that you have, like Gino has? You don't like to see me successful? I understand. I get it. It bothers you, right?
No.
It would bother me. It would bug me. So you're probably in your head going, fuck him, I got fucking fake laugh. What else do you want me to do? Fat fuck, he's makes money doing stand-up. What do I got to do? Nothing. Fucking turn the mic on. All right, I get it. Get the anger. I think Gino should be more angry. I mean, you're a producer. You got skills I don't have. Gino and me do the same thing. And I'm way more successful. I can see Gino, but you, I thought we were friends. Pay the guy to fucking fake laugh. All right, listen. Bye, guys. Listen. See you later.